Hello students, today we are going to take a second part of diversity in the living world. Okay, so diversity in the living world means what are the different sort of lives present on the earth. So different sort of life means in a form of human, microorganisms, insect. There are various sort of life present on the earth. So today we will understand this thing. What is basically diversity? Diversity means biodiversity, various forms of life. The variability among the living organism. As we all know that there are various sort of life present on the earth, in a form of microorganism, in a form of aquatic animals, in a form of terrestrial animals. So all those species which are residing on this globe are carrying on the life process. So all these life process makes a ecosystem, a system on the earth, comprising all the life forms. Some are producers, some are carnivores, some are herbivores, some are decomposers. They are playing their role in the ecosystem. This role of all the species creates an ecosystem, and all those life forms are considered as a biodiversity. Now, this we can understand more clearly by this table, that bacteria, in this table is the number which is written in front of the species. They are the number of species, they are not the number of organisms. Keep this in your mind. Number of species is different and number of organism is different thing. Don't mix up with it. Like human being is a one species and the number of human beings on the earth is 700 something crore. So number of organism is different and number of species. So basically we are in too much of number. We are 700 crore something, but species is one. So here it is written bacteria 850. So they are not the number of bacteria, they are the number of species of bacteria. Means 850 types of bacteria. Imagine how many types of bacteria are there, and one bacteria can be in millions. How much this much type of bacteria will capture the area? Fungi 23,000 types, algae 2,500 types, bryophyta 2,500. Means how many species are residing on this globe? There are more than 1,18,000 counting number of species are residing on this globe. That means vast number of organisms or life form is residing on this globe. Every year 10 to 12,000 new species being we can say discovered, and together with the same amount of number of species used to extinct from the earth just because of the changing living habits of the human beings or some global disaster or whatever. Okay, so a lot of species are residing on the earth. Okay, so that's why there is a need to study it, to need to classify them, to need to understand how life process goes on or proceed. This is the need of it. Okay, so for studying those species, there is a word taxonomy is used. Taxa means life form, classification of organism, and the process of classification is known as taxonomy. Taxa means classification into different group. Taxa means group, and the process is known as taxonomy. When we group certain organisms into certain categories, they are known as, that process is known as taxonomy. So basically it's a functional science to identify things, to name it so that we can identify it properly. Naming should be there, and categorizing them into certain groups. That's why the three terms is used: identification, nomenclature, and classification. This is how things will done. Okay, so taxonomy is basically a science which deal with the process of classification of living organism in the form of plant or animal, and to study their evolutionary benefit. Now, how, on what basis these are done? These are done on the four bases. Basis of taxonomy. First, categorization. First we categorize. These are the certain groups. Accordingly, we have to do or put the organism into certain category. Identification. First we identify the organism. Okay, this is the species which we have to find out where it originates, what are the habits, what are the nutritive habits, what are the reproductive habits, what is the life process. Accordingly we identify, then classify, then we keep whatever the categorization we have done, we keep it in that group, whether it suits to that group or not. Then nomenclature, then accordingly what are the habits, what are the physical morphology, we name them. Okay, so this is a basic of taxonomy. Now classification guideline. Why classification guidelines should be there? When we are classifying certain things into groups, we must be putting some guidelines so that it become easy to arrange all sort of number of species into a categories. So what are those categories? First, morphology. Keep this in your mind. Morphology, how organism is looking. Lion is looking different, rat is looking different, cow is looking different. So basis of how the organism looking, they categorize. Then second word thing come anatomy. Internally, what are the organs? What are the internal structure of the animal? Herbivores are different, carnivores are different, insects are different, plant are different, anatomically. Cytology. Cytology is structure of cell, like plant cell are different, animal cells are different. So on the basis of that as well, they are supposed to classify. Then physiology, how certain living organism is carrying on its process, that is known as physiology. What will be the physiology of certain organisms? How it is carrying on the life process, where it is, on which geographical location it is found, what are the nutritive habits, what are the reproductive cycle, all are physiology. Ontogeny means development, what time it takes to grow, to get mature, this all come into ontogeny. Reproduction, the word itself explains how it reproduce, that is reproduction. Behavior, how they are behaving, means responding to the environment, that is known as behavior. And biochemistry, how their internal chemical cycle affects their life, is known as biochemistry. So these are the categories on the basis of which classification is done. So this is all for the day. In the next class we will be studying nomenclature of classification. Okay, thank you. Do prepare the notes.